It's that time again, the time where I've completely missed the bandwagon and talking about my favorite Pokemon months after everyone's moved on, but that's okay in my book. I've had time to really think about what I want to say about the roster this time, and at this point in my life, I'm just here to tell you what I like and why I like them. Not gonna be getting into stats, some of these I didn't even use during the main game, or at all really, but it doesn't matter. I like what I like, and there was a lot to pick from this gen. So now, without further ado, I give you my top 10 Gen 9 Pokemon. Enjoy, everybody! There's some Pokemon you warm up to after seeing them in a different light or facet of the franchise, but from day one, no matter what it was, Girafarig did absolutely nothing for me. The most interesting thing about it, before we learned about its scrapped pre-evolution, was the non-giraffe back half. And maybe the fact it was once the only dual normal type that wasn't a bird till Bibarel came along, who I still find leagues more interesting. Farigiraf gets those opposing ends working together, and in this case, two heads are 10 times better than one. Armor Tail ain't nothing to laugh at. This thing saved me from a grisly fate at the hands of Team Star. Most people will tell you Ares sent them packing, and I'm in that camp as well, but Armor Tail Farigiraf? That sucker punching Toxicroak wished it had a fourth move to do anything with, cause that fatal flaw left me free to set up and shut her down in ways only previously seen with a disguised Zoroark fighting Ultra Necrozma. The road to Farigiraf is only matched in length by its new neck, but it was worth it in the long run. Poisonous mammals are some of the most fascinating creatures to me. There aren't a lot of them out there, but that's what makes them special. As if something like the platypus didn't scream real-life Pokemon enough for you, the males having a poison spur with enough juice to put you in the hospital? That's just the cherry on top. Shroodle and Grafaiai were the first family since Remoraid and Octillery to make me go, wait, what's the correlation here? Why does that turn into that? Seeing Shroodle the first time, no, I really didn't make the connection at all. It's one of those things you want to look into, and you come out feeling like a smarter person than you were 5 minutes prior to browsing Bulbapedia. Grafaiai is clearly based on an ii, but they didn't stop there. We got some Slowloris in there too, the only venomous primate, and they paired it up with venomous shrews, sprinkled in a little art motif that references real-world Spain. Seriously, take a dive on Bulbapedia and look at what might have played a hand in their creation. They may never get outright confirmed by the devs, especially since they shied away from interviews after Gen 8, can't imagine why, but these two are exactly why I've never worried about Pokemon's crack design team running out of ideas. This generation, I truly didn't care if my party shared mons of the same type. If I liked it, it was going on the team. I was rocking 3 ghost types in the mid-game, and one of them was Houndstone. If it wasn't clear at this point, dog Pokemon will never go out of style. Some people are waiting for an evolution for every type. I'm waiting for dog mons of every breed, and that includes mixed breeds. Though this line covers one type of dog I never thought they'd touch, the one that, went to live on a ranch, with Haley, of course. After seeing what they did to Stoutland and Snubbull in the anime, it seems Pokemon finally got the message that, oh yeah, your man's best friend. Let's tug at the heartstrings. They already got me with Arven's Mob Bostiff, a Pokemon I lost to twice and felt no shame in doing so, but hearing little Grievard never interacted with a living soul, well, I'd gladly let him sap what's left of mine for some belly rubs. And what you get is the most loyal dog Pokemon you'd ever come to know. If having one of the most insane attacks to ever grace the game is any indication, this thing is gonna make Nuzlocke even more impactful. Mark my words, or bark my words. Sorry, I've been watching a little too much Dog City. My favorite fairy types are ones that go a step further than dainty and magical, or just pink. The devious fairies that screw with people for their own amusement or cause displeasure for everyone around them. Last gen, we got the Impidimp crew, and joining their ranks is the Tinkatink line, who didn't like how the world worked and went, you know what? Screw it. Spitting in the face of any weakness fairies had once upon a time. Wielding the very weapon that terrorized them and sporting the strongest steel move on record, you're lucky Tinkaton's attack stat is what it is. Any higher and it'd go on a rampage. Tinkatink's the prime example of watch who you make fun of in school, cause it'll come back to bite you and it won't take long. As Tinkatuff, it's already mugging poor defenseless Bisharp, so come Tinkaton, the sky was the limit. Literally. I know this is the Pokemon world, but what world do you live in where a creature that fights birds whose feathers get used as swords has nightmares of 2'0" Amy Rose? Paldean Transit would be a lot more efficient with one Corviknight as opposed to multiple Squawkabilly, but no one's taken any chances of getting snuffed out by Tip from Kirby right back at ya. Dondozo and Tatsugiri were the kind of Pokemon that didn't leave much of an impression the first time seeing them, but the more I thought about them, the more I said to myself, you know what? I'm really into this. Dondozo is about as sharp as a sack of wet tandem mouse, but he knows that he can't get through this mixed up existence by himself. And to know that, well, maybe he's not as dumb as Dexter says. You may not be able to slay the chess dragon, but you're smart enough to seek out his guidance and benefit from his teachings. He's big enough to admit his shortcomings. Coming up shy just behind Wailord and Eternatus, he's big enough to do a lot of things. Tatsugiri gets me just from the official artwork alone. First time seeing the stretchy form, I thought it was fan art with that smug look he was giving me. But you know, with a face like that, he's already thought of 6 different ways to give you the business end of Dondozo's gaping maw. I also really love the sushi motif here. And the day Pokemon Stadium gets remade, you can bet the Sushi Go Round minigame will have these two chilling out in the background. It's now my headcanon Dondozo was the one putting these dishes together and screaming at me in a foreign language this whole time. We may have only gotten 2 regional variants this generation, which I think was due to them blowing the wad with Legends Arceus, but in its place was something just as good, if not better. I genuinely missed cross-gen evolutions, back how they were done prior to Gen 6. I just wanted stuff to evolve without too many conditions again, and not only did Gen 9 deliver on that, it gave us something we've been hyping up since 1999, or 2000, whatever. Though they might have heard us a bit too literally, cause they really did just say, oh, they want more Dunsparce, huh? Oh, we'll give them more Dunsparce. Dunsparce on top of Dunsparce even. A part of me was a bit let down, but I'm not gonna lie, that subsided pretty quick. A design like this totally makes sense for Dunsparce, and I was honestly having too much fun wreaking havoc to sweat the small stuff. This fella carried my entire team, and after riding the Dunsparce evolution bandwagon for 10 plus years, it feels so good to finally say that. I proudly used a Dunsparce on my X and Y team, and good old Dorp would be proud to know that I did it again. Some Pokemon are suited for battling, others make great pets, and then there's the ones that can just be your bro. Ones you can lounge on the couch with and play frisbee in the park, and everything feels right in the world. That's Goldango's MO. There's so many Pokemon out there who literally live off seeing us suffer, but Goldango just wants to spread good vibes, make friends with everybody, shower you with legal tender. He doesn't care if he's a surfer dude who can't learn surf. That won't stop him from living his best life. First time I saw it, my mind went to a mix of Earthworm Jim and Black Diamond cheese strings, but you don't want to take a bite out of this guy. No chocolate in those coins. Probably feels like eating a chocolate sailor still in the foil. Everything else about Goldango screams celebration and milestone, and just looking at him puts a smile on my face. He's Pokemon number 1000, and I didn't even notice his belt sported that very number, or that Gimmighoul had it on the chest before it evolved. And until Pokemon made that video celebrating 1000 monsters, it seemed no one was quite sure where the Gen 9 crew fit in with the National Dex roster. But one thing's certain, Goldango is where we broke into the fabled quad digits, and that's just the way I like it. When a new generation rolls around, I like just picking a starter and keeping myself in the dark, going on gut instinct and seeing if I got a good hand. I think every starter has their own perks, and I'd have been happy with any of them this gen, but with that said, I lucked out here. I was leaning to Quaxley for the first little while, but the more I looked into Fuecoco's vacant stare, the more he spoke to me, and there was no going back after that. Whatever came my way, I was gonna see it through with him. The first time I saw Crocalor, no word of a lie, I burst out laughing, but it was a good laugh, mind you. Out of all the starters' mid-forms, I'd say this one is the jolliest, just a rotund little buddy that wants to make you smile. I feel a sense of satisfaction with Skeledirge too. Been a while since we got a starter line line that starts on 2 legs and ends on all 4s, and the first time for the fire types if you can believe it. And it took me an embarrassingly long time to see the bird right on his snout, but it brings out even more personality. Something else that's pretty funny, this is our second fire ghost starter, with our last one coming out like 10 months prior, and I haven't seen any complaints like when we got fire fighting 3 gens running. I had both Skeledirge and a Ceruledge in my team for a bit and I didn't bat an eye, so by all means, milk this type for all it's worth. The day has finally come! Ever since Ash was conned out of his own from that sore loser Anthony, I have been a Primeape fan for life. It's one of those Pokemon you think is never getting anything special. It's not driving sales of plushies or t-shirts, everyone's kind of forgotten about it. Hasn't stopped me from loving it, but if it was getting anything, I never expected this. Usually when I run into a Primeape in a new game, I lug it around for a bit, let it do a few battles, but it typically doesn't nab a permanent team slot. That changed when I heard rumblings of an evolution. All I really looked up was how to evolve it, and since I didn't do any Yuva Academy stuff for most of the story, I wasn't figuring that out on my own. Could have waited for Aerie to stomp me flat, but no, I needed this thing now. Seeing Annihilape in the flesh, I mean, where do you even get the idea to make Primeape the raddest anime boss you've ever seen? I'm hoping when the show gets its hands on this monster, they do some mind-boggling things with it. But you know the best part about Annihilape? It's permanent. None of that only evolves in a certain region junk that plagues other evolutions. This isn't a Basculegion or Ursaluna situation. Annihilape shall be forever. You have no idea how long I've waited for this one. Heck, I didn't even know. We've all thought about those clashing type combos and wonder what the minds at Game Freak were gonna come up with. Fire Water was done pretty well with Volcanion, but I never thought I'd see the Grass-Fire combo in my lifetime. My creativity basically capped out at Scorched Earth, so how they went about making Scovillain I never saw coming, but it makes perfect sense. Red Pepper, Green Pepper, Dinosaur, those comedy tragedy drama heads. This could have easily been botched, and some folks wish they went in more on some aspects, but I don't want to hear it. He's perfect in my eyes. Honestly, I could see this guy existing in Red and Blue. To me, he feels right at home with your Nidokings and your Rhydons, all the nondescript kaiju freaks. It's also one of the happy few this gen to keep its Japanese name pretty much anywhere that isn't Germany or China, because even the localizers knew anything less than Scovillain is a downgrade, a disgrace. Most Pokemon on this list are interchangeable in their rankings depending on how I feel a certain day, but for right now, maybe forever, Scovillain firmly number 1. Hey there folks, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to give this video a like, share with a friend, subscribe, check out my social media pages, all that stuff I always go on about. And if you'd like to help support me more directly, feel free to check out my Patreon page. There's behind the scenes blogs, art assets, and now, verbal shoutouts. So I'd like to give a shout out today to Lars Niswant. And hey, he's the only one here. Not that I'm complaining, but you want Lars to have all the glory? But anyways, if that sounds interesting to you, check out the Patreon page in the description below. And while you're down there, feel free to tell me what your favorite Paldean Pokemon is. And with all that said, I'll see you guys next time for another installment in this month of Pokemon. Catch you later!